What is
Uh-oh.
everybody? It's the Husky Boys, aka Big Poppin' Bobby Hoops, Gold Standard College Basketball Podcast. How we feeling today, Bobby Hoops?
My hand is stuck in an L's down position.
Buddy, if I wasn't holding my kid right here, this is Wheezy, for everybody wondering, my 7-month-old. My other hand would be locked in place like my right hand at the moment because it has been like this for the last 48 hours straight. That's right. Yes. I mean, if you're not watching YouTube right now, get to YouTube, but it is L's down for the
It's
rest of the
L's down and a precious baby and two dudes. And that's what it is.
buddy, the epitome of this entire podcast. That's right. Yay.
Yeah.
Man, what the last couple of days? I'm on an absolute heater right now, going back
Yeah.
last Saturday. Granted, the Vikings did not win in Cincinnati, and I'll get more into that later.
Sure.
But Saturday night, come to last night, like Big Papa's feeling good.
Riding high. Christmas season.
Yeah. Like, how could you not want everything right now to be happening for your team? Just, yeah, things are clicking right now.
Things are good.
Okay.
Good stuff. That's the good stuff.
Thank you. So we've had quite a bit of games going on since the last time we were together recording. I'm just going to run through, not that like the fans or haters, which are many, at least we've come to find out in the last like 7+ days.
Means we're doing something right.
Couldn't agree more. Means we're doing something right. I'm going to go over some scores. You can obviously find this on your ESPN app, Bing.com, whatever your search engine is. But we also like to give people an update on what's happening around the league. So I'm going to buzz through these real quick. One big takeaway was Bama. Not good. They lost to a little 3-point game to Creighton and then followed it up with a loss to Arizona. You're probably, if you're a Bama fan, thinking, are we that bad? I would say probably not, because you've had
those are two of the best teams in the country.
Yeah, I mean, you're not losing to doinkers. I mean, you're playing top tier teams and not winning it. Arkansas, they handled their business against Lipscomb, and Abilene Christian barely escaped Lipscomb. That was one that I think Must Bus was sweating a hot second. Auburn took care of Bronny James. He came back for his first game of the year. Welcome back, Bronny. Good to see you're doing good and healthy. But I don't think he played good that game. So not a good outing for him. Gators took care of their stuff. Georgia, Mount St. Mary's. Oh, thanks.
Hi, Lucy.
Yeah, they're necessary. Did you just hear that? We got another hater.
Another hater? I mean, we just collect them at this point.
She said the sunglasses necessary. Again, look, after Big Don commented on the last video, how could I not?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can address one hater right now.
Oh,
had a little audio snafu last time. Bobby Hoops got on the Googler, figured out how to mute websites without muting the full computer, so I can continue yapping to you. So progress, baby.
Man, look at us, man.
Dog of the week myself already.
An early submission. Okay, I like it. LSU, they played Texas, took a loss, beat Lamar. Ole Miss somehow still undefeated. I don't know what Chris Beard is doing. I don't know what's happening in the water. The hotty toddy, I guess. They're undefeated. Mississippi State, they win. Mizzou loses to Seton Hall. Shocker. Again, dang, hate that. Maybe I'll get into saying something nice in a second, but let me get through these scores real quick. South Carolina, they take care of their business. In the same category again for me with Ole Miss. What is happening? I don't understand what's going on in Columbia, but they're winning.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
I don't. Vawlz took care of their business. 2 dubs this week. A&M, absolute heater versus Houston.
Great game. Great ball game. I mean, barely. It took it down to the wire. Lost by 4 at Houston's place.
It did. Wade Taylor's unbelievable. I'll have some more comments on that. Vanderbilt, bottom of the barrel. What are you going to do? Stack. I don't know. Is this year 5 for him?
Did you see that tweet that was going around of him saying how hard their schedule is? Which, college basketball is hard. I like D1 SEC basketball. Yes, it is hard in general. And then people are
Yeah.
like looking it up on Ken Palm that you've got like they're like somewhere in the hundreds, I think, in terms of strength of schedule or something. Like it's
I mean,
whatever. It wasn't good. It wasn't good. Like it
hey,
to completely negated what he said in terms of how hard their schedule is. No, I do not think Jerry Stackhouse is long for Vanderbilt.
hey, Stackhouse, call South Carolina. I mean, look at their
They're
schedule,
doing something right.
their strength of schedule. Like everything's about the same when it comes to South Carolina. But guess what? They win their games. What do you
Yeah.
what do you want to do? Sorry. My favorite was the quote that I sent to you. That was basically him being having his feet held to the fire from something he said back in SEC preview days.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, I didn't mean for that comment to like actually be brought back up," which it was essentially what
Yeah.
you're alluding to, which is like the strength of schedule or oh, it's just really hard to win games here in college basketball. And it's like,
Well, and wasn't what he said during the SEC media days that they're gonna kick butt this year, basically?
that's right.
They're gonna be
In some
yeah,
different, yeah, some
kicking
different
butt.
wording.
And then he was like, how dare you use my words against me?
Oh, you're just taking that out, the classic, like, oh, you just took it out of context. Like,
Of course you're gonna use my words against me. Well, yeah, buddy, you said it.
you said it. You're the
And
head
you're
coach.
not doing the thing you said. Yeah.
Yeah, you said you're going to kick tail this season. Sorry, like, do you want fans to be like, oh,
This is
fine.
part of the gig, Jerry.
Hey, because guess who's dealing with that right now and are in the tanker, Loserville. So sit in the camp with them. I don't care. All right, there's your scores real quick. Yeah, let me lock my arms, my wrist back into place. On arthritis watch, I might be put the computer might have that on the rankings. We'll see.
Okay.
Sorry, I don't want to offend any arthritis survivors. I understand this.
Yeah.
Just want to make that clear. A&M. I think I know they lost, and I know we've sat here and talked about, especially for like Big Don, anybody else who's an A&M fan, we're on at least. I feel like we both, and you can say different if you want. We're on the side of, again, don't get lost in the weeds about losing games in December. It's not great, obviously, but don't lose the big picture of you're losing big games, losing big games close. Obviously, you want to win them when they're on neutral floors or away games. But dude,
Yeah.
like, they're good. Wade Taylor, I don't know how
Well,
you can't have him in the conversation of national like point guard of the year. I don't know how you can't have him in that conversation.
I mean, you look at that box score from the Houston game, and like e- everything you just said, yeah, I think you're right. I'm right on track with you. I mean, like, no, I don't think A&M should be concerned at all. You should probably feel good about losing by 4 to the number 4 team in the country. But like,
Yeah.
if there's anything you're gonna look at and be like, "Ugh," it's that, oh my gosh, Wade Taylor had to go supernova
Yeah.
for you to lose by 4. I mean, he was 10 of 22, 6 threes, 8 of 9 from the charity stripe for 34 points. I mean,
Didn't
if
he?
if anyone else on the team could have had a decent game, they probably win that game. And
Yeah.
that happened.
Yeah. They're
But
down 17 in the second half.
yeah,
And he just has to basically go in one mixtape, do his thing. I think
yeah,
he had 20, 24, 26 points alone in the second half.
it was very impressive. No one else on the team shot particularly well.
No.
Or took a lot of shots, really. It was really the Wade Taylor show the whole way, and he almost got the job done.
Against the statistically the best defensive team in the country.
Yeah,
He almost single-handedly won the game.
he's the real deal.
So yeah, A&M fans, again, doesn't feel great right now when you look at your 7-4 record or whatever it is. But
Yeah,
when conference play starts and you're playing Ole Miss, South Carolina, and exposing these frauds.
Yeah, yeah.
You'll
It's
be.
gonna be fun.
Um,
Wade Taylor's he's the man.
he's the man. Real quick, because you and I, we had a mailbag question, if I remember correctly, from our boy Lee Younger, massive fan of the show.
Yeah, we love mail, by the way.
Yeah,
Anybody's got questions.
yeah,
The answer might be I don't know, but we like questions.
could be. Yeah, I mean, we'll be honest. If it's just like, I don't know,
I don't
or
know. Moving on.
touch grass, we'll take
Yeah.
it. All right, Lee Younger's mailbag question. He says, "Sup, fellas? You mentioned, and I guess maybe this is more me. He said you mentioned UK losing to a mid-major at home. Can't do that. But in the analysis, you had also talked about the age of the players and the advantages that brings. Is this consistent plague for the Cats? As the classic impression is that guys is maybe I'm is the guys that are one and done and onto the league. Are there advantages of age similar to what the Vols have at the moment and enjoying, say, Hendo Cinco? Does the same experiences translate into basketball, age versus youth?" So I think I, for the most part, understood that question correctly. So,
Yeah.
one, does it translate from a sport to sport? In this scenario, Lee's talking about college football to college basketball. Are the advantages, disadvantages to having young guys on your basketball team? And maybe I'm just talking to air of, does it like basically does it work for you long term? Or like does one prefer younger to older? Um, I think there are similarities let's talk sports. I think there are similarities in the sport in general where if you are older, I think the assumption is you know your system better. Um, you most likely have more experience with your teammates who also stick around and don't bounce, whether that's
Yep.
leave, transfer portal, retire from the game, whatever. Um, yeah, and I think there's just a natural growth and maturity level when you are older and you've played the sport longer. Um, you know routines better, practice habits better. You're just not 18 and still act like you're 18 when you're in high school and think you can flip a switch when you show up. I think that's just naturally true for all sports, but yeah, I mean, like when he's talking about Hendo Cinco, now obviously he was starting quarterback for the Vols. He just knew how to guide and lead a team. He's younger, I think, with the experience and leadership. He has ownership in that realm, right?
Yeah.
Like guys look to him. One,
Yeah.
because you
And
want,
he'd also done it before at Virginia Tech. Like he'd been around a while. He saw probably, or at least for himself, like what didn't work
yeah,
um, at another place, and came to a school that was maybe not maybe, but is better, more mature, a team that has had success and experience from the head coaches and stuff like that. And I think it was just a good melting pot mix of experience from all kinds of different, you know, stops along the road that led to a successful team.
yeah.
Um,
I think at least navigating Lee's question when it comes to experience versus youth, I think the best way I know how to put it is if folks still wonder, does youth in college basketball work? I mean, to some degree, I would say go all the way back to when Cal was at Memphis,
mhm.
where it was kind of the beginning starts of DeJuan Wagner, these other cats, and then he gets to Kentucky as John Wall, Boogie. And so, like you start to see a pattern of, okay, if we're going to get youth and you want to be successful, they have to be the elite of the elite out of high school. It can't be, and there's nothing wrong with getting an 18-year-old who's still ranked in the top 30.
Yeah.
I say the elite, and I feel like we've said it here before. We're talking like top 10 guys
Yeah.
in the ESPN 100. So if
If
you,
you're gonna put all your weight into freshmen, like being the reason you win ball games, it's because you have, like that a few years ago, that Duke team, the 2019. I mean, when they had Zion and two other guys. Anyway, but they had like they had three of the top five prospects that year.
Yeah.
Like that's a team that can, and it didn't work for them. I think they lost in the Elite Eight that year, which that's a really good year. Not for Duke standards, but like if you're gonna really say we're going all the way because of a freshman, it's because you have the best freshman. We're not talking like a top 25-star and then like a couple 4-star kids. Like, no, these are the best. And that's where I think you find more often than not lately, the teams that are going the distance have a mix of guys who have been around for a few years and have, taken their licks and fallen a few times and learned how to get back up. And with a mix of the young guns coming in who have the talent to probably they only need to be here for a year, maybe two. But when you get a good mix of that, those are the teams that typically do really well.
Yeah.
Then I think you also have teams, like if you're a Tennessee fan in the last decade with Rick Barnes, like he tends to he occasionally brings in a one and done type freshman kid who, we've had some success there too, but primarily Barnes and coaches like him and teams like him have found success from developing guys. And, the Admirals and the Grants of the world and John Fulkerson and Josiah Jordan James currently and Santiago Vescovi, who have those are guys who have steadily gotten better over 3, 4, even 5 years in some of their cases. And so there's more than one way to skin a cat in college basketball. But
Yeah.
usually, in my opinion, the best teams of the best find a way to incorporate both. And maybe nowadays that's also bringing in a guy in the portal. So now you got three ways to do it. That's a big thing of what Arkansas is trying to do well now. Is we're gonna go portal crazy and bring in all kinds of guys from everywhere. So, but yeah, I think usually if a coach can get a mix of all of that and do it well, then you've probably got a really good team.
Yeah. I probably, and I only lean this direction because of literally what I've seen since Cal showed up, which before then I didn't have any thought, philosophy. That's probably what it is. All at the end of the day, it's just like, what's your coach's philosophy? Cal's is everything we already talked about, but it's basically saying, I'm going to get the best talent. Nowadays it's high school and portal, but for the longest time, it was just, I'm going to get the best talent out of high school, and their ceilings are going to be so much higher than like your guys.
Yep.
That I'm going to say talent's going to prevail at the end of the day, and we're going to beat you at
Yeah.
one-on-one. And I still lean that way because of how consistently true it has been for the most part. I mean, they won the national title in his third year in 2012 with all freshmen, basically. So can it happen again this year?
They almost did it again in 2015. It
Yeah,
got really, really dang close.
So hopefully that answers Lee's question. There's a mix, but at the end of the day, I think coaches have to figure out, how do I get the best talent either out of high school or from the portal or both? And then that's what's going to carry you. Because if you go, well, we've already talked a lot about it. Talent's going to win at the end of the day. Can it help when you just have old dudes who know how to ball? It can, but normally when you've got fifth, sixth, even seventh year guys you're playing with right now, like, their game is what it is. It's not freshmen who you're like, ooh, let me tinker a little bit and help you figure out how to do this thing differently to help you elevate, which can. So, yeah, thanks, Lee, for the mailbag. Anybody else, if you got mailbag stuff, send it in. We love talking about it. Real quick. Well, you don't have to do it real quick, just whatever you want to talk about. So, talk about your Vawlz. What do we already say? They had a big win over NC State in San Antonio this past Saturday. And they took care of, somebody's Tarleton State Texans, whatever they're called, the Texas Riders. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody out of the state of Texas was acting like, man, they're going to take down Tennessee.
Yeah.
Is
So
it
before I get to the almighty Tarleton State, Vols did have a good win over the weekend over NC State and over an old friend DJ Burns who used to play for Tennessee a few years ago who transferred to
right?
NC State, who he had a good game too. Uh, yeah, he had 15 and he had a good game and it was kind of a back and forth affair. It was kind of a weird game in that it was pretty much the first game so far. Connect had a terrible game. I mean, he was 1 of 7 from the field, only had 2 points. He only played 19 minutes. He just didn't play great. Um, but what was super encouraging. Um, it was probably the best game all year that we've had from Josiah Jordan James. He led the way with 23 points, 5 3-pointers, grabbed a handful of rebounds, assists, blocks, the normal Josiah Jordan James stuff. He literally can do everything for you on the court. And then the other big thing it was welcome back to Kai Ziegler. 20 points for him, shot 50% from the 3-point line, hit 4 threes, couple rebounds, 8 assists, 4 steals. I mean, it was a great game from those two. They just led the way for us and kind of lifted us on our shoulders and out in San Antonio. So good win. I think that was just kind of a idea of what you thankfully this is a team where you've got about 5 to 6 guys who it could be their night and it's probably going to be needed occasionally. So if it's not Connect or if it's not Josiah, then it might be Santi, it might be Ziegler, it might be Jonas Adu, or Meshack's been a consistent about 10 to 12, 13 points lately. So that was an encouraging game. I think the one thing from that game that we need to, I think, as Tennessee fans need to see more is Tope Awaka is going to be really important for us going forward. He's our backup kind of power forward. Um, he comes in to spell Adu. All he does out there is foul, man. I can't remember the last game where Owaka's not had 3 to 4 fouls or fouled out and he's flirting with. It's like we just don't have a lot of depth at the big man position. And Owaka's a great player. He's a great rebounder. He had 12 rebounds in this game coming off the bench in 18 minutes. But like, man, we need you out there all game. So good win over a solid team. Took care of business. I'm gonna call it a road game because it was on the road, and so that was good. And then comes to Tarleton State, and why Tarleton State is of note. I learned this the other day. My dad, who is some might say our biggest fan, uh, I texted him. My dad's a proud Texan. Most of my family are Texans. And I texted him. I'm like, hey, Tennessee's playing Tarleton State out of Stephenville, Texas. Know anything about them? And I got almost a short novel about all this information on Tarleton State. Come to find out, my grandfather worked at Tarleton State and taught military history there. And after I got this novel from my father, he goes, go Tarleton State, go Texan Riders.
Wow.
So he pulled for Tarleton State last night, which I guess your funeral,
So
I
that's the
guess.
comment on the last video. That's how much he
Yeah,
cared about last
yeah.
night.
I've gone 30 years of life and I've never heard the man mention Tarleton State once in my life. But lo and behold, he's a big fan.
Who knew?
So
So
anyway, Vols won 65-46 and took care of business, sent them packing. Of note, Connect kind of had a bad game again.
oh,
He'll be fine, I think. But had multiple guys in double figures, and did what they should do against that team. Like
I was going to ask just because
with all due respect, Tarleton State. With all due respect, but
I was going to ask just because I tried to flip to it real quick after the Cats.
yeah,
did they just kind of sleepwalk through that one? Was that just kind of like
Yeah, I think
like
so.
it's
It's like
Christmas, nobody's like students have left. I don't.
Christmas break on a Wednesday night against a team from Stephenville, Texas. No disrespect to Stevenson, Texas.
Fighting Billy Gillespie. Is he still there?
Stephenville, whatever they're, I don't even know. No disrespect. But yeah, you know, they kind of were flirting with like a 10-point lead towards the end of halftime, and you know they woke up a bit in the second. It definitely wasn't their best game. They definitely were sleepwalking a bit, but that's kind of to be expected. I can't fault it too much. It is Tarleton State.
Yeah.
Respectfully.
Respect.
Respect.
I have no dog in this fight, but yes, respectfully. Hey, Cats, did you have any more? At least
Nope.
on.
That's it.
So Cats took. I mean, I feel like now recently I've tried to reflect on like when the Cats in North Carolina meet up. It's it. It's just like unbelievable games. They're so much fun. It's electric. It's up and down. Um, it's everything that like you want when it comes to historically great college basketball teams. Um, I would say the same even for, I mean, college football, whatever the sport. Anybody who's their team has dominated that sport whenever they meet up with another one, you're like, I don't really even care. Well, obviously you want to win, but I think there's a degree of if we lose, I hope it's just an unreal game. I mean, I know I've said it here before when like Malik Monk goes off for 47 points, and it took him doing that, going nuclear for them to win
Yeah.
out in Vegas when they play Carolina. The Cats play Carolina in Atlanta last Saturday, and I think the overall takeaway was youth and talent prevailed over the old heads at North Carolina. And that doesn't mean that North Carolina played a bad game. They didn't. They played a really good game.
Yeah.
They RJ Davis, I think is the guy's name. I think he's going to be up there with Wade Taylor for point guard. RJ had 27 points. Can't think of the shooting guard's name also, but he threw in another 20. But at the end, actually, the one stat that kind of stood out was that Kentucky out rebounded them by 10. I think they ended up having, but it was a 42 or 44 or something rebounds to their 32.
Yeah. I'm pulling up the box score. I'll let you know.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, but like if you look at the stats,
North Carolina, 43 to their 32 rebounds.
So, which is impressive. You're talking about that means Aaron Bradshaw, that was pretty much his second full game back, and he goes up against Armando Bacot, who, if you follow basketball or even if you don't, Armando, he's been around the game for, I think he's a sixth year at North Carolina, but like he's been in the running for the last year or two in Player of the Year. Like,
yeah, he was awesome against us a few weeks ago.
Yeah, but he was not good, and
nope.
I don't know what happened.
They did a great job against
him. I think their defensive plan was pretty good against him, and they shut him down. My boy Dillingham, he went for 17 that night. That was I would say he's probably the one who stood out the most. DJ Wagner, he had a pretty good game too. I think that was just my takeaway. I had to do the like speed through watch whenever I got home.
Sure.
It was a lot of fun to see them like have another electric game with North Carolina and win. Tack that onto the record, but just to see like, okay, y'all are maturing as a team, individuals, and like we already talked about at the beginning of just young dudes stepping up in the brightest moments and making plays to win games, because that's usually a little bit of a worry. It's like, can you, like when it's crunch time and you need to run a set to get a dude the ball, whether it's driving the lane, kick it out to the three, or just purely get into the rim, get fouled in one, whatever. Like, can you do it when there's 2 minutes left or less? And they did. Yeah. It was a lot of fun to see. And then, like, of course, I got a text last night from one of our biggest listeners, Lee Younger, he said, your blood has to be at least 1/3 brown water at the moment, which like I'll try to speed through it. Like coming into the game with Louisville, you got Kenny Payne, who's like Loserville fans wanted him gone middle of last year. They won 4 games. They're to 5 this year, which hey, kudos to them. Respectfully, you've won more games this year than you have last year. So good for you. They want him gone. And as of like 2 hours ago, they didn't fire him. So deal with it. Kentucky fans got in. I mean, you could hear it through the TV. You hear blue, white, CATS, everything. It was just,
I texted you. It reminded me of when Tennessee football goes out to Nashville and plays Vanderbilt. Yeah. And what people call Neyland West. Like that's what it looked like. That's what it felt like. Like just a sea of blue in Louisville Stadium. It was just in their arena.
In a rivalry, especially this game, which Kentucky and Louisville fans, it's like it's circled on the calendar for, all respective purposes, but it's the basketball game, and football's definitely caught up. But that is, quite frankly, that's an embarrassment to a Louisville, arena university. It's like Kentucky fans shouldn't have the upper hand on the attendance. You shouldn't. But it kind of felt, and you talked about it, like your example. For me, I was like, this felt like seeing Kentucky fans at the SEC tournament, where it's like the absolute nut jobs who save up for the entire calendar year, and that's their spring break trips. They go
to the vacation,
and it's the arena is 80% plus Kentucky blue. But that's what it was, and I'm not mad. I laugh hard anytime Kentucky fans are like, I feel bad. I'm like, I don't. I hope they never win another game.
L's down, baby.
It just, it's the best. It's funny. Dee Dee was laughing at me. She's like, "You're up like 25. Why are you upset?" I'm like, because we should beat them by 50.
Yeah.
I want them to just quit and walk off the floor. But it got weird just because you were up 20 going into half. Big Tone had 22 in the first half. He cooked, baby. At that point, it's like Louisville quit. They weren't even running play. That was probably the thing that was getting me annoyed, was like, they're not even running plays. Kenny's just like, get up the floor and like do something. So it became street ball. They're just somebody do something, throw up a shot, and sometimes it kind of worked for them. But I think they easily could have put up like 115 plus if Cal actually let them put the gas down. But Kenny's his dude. If folks out there don't know, Kenny was a former assistant for Cal. They're boys. Cal doesn't want to do that to him. So, anywho, I had a lot of takeaways, but I just was, you handled your business, you beat your rival, you embarrassed them, national television. It made me feel really good to see, if Aaron Bradshaw and DJ Wagner, who had a combined 4 points, not great, that's their off night, but everybody else is cooking. I'm feeling good about moving forward. You kind of mentioned at least about Tennessee, and likewise, I feel the same about Kentucky when it comes to like, there's 6, 7 guys on any given night can like go for 20 or 30 points. Guard depth.
It gives you a real sense of like, I feel like a sense of reassurance about your team that like we have ways to figure it out if it's not going well.
If guys are in foul trouble, we're fine. You can go to your bench. Those guys can give you 30 minutes and they can get points. I mean, Reed Shepherd had 11 assists. I mean, he's dishing. It's everything's clicking at the moment, which is great. And I want to see it continue into league play and not just fall off. So, hey, quickly, dog of the week. Do you want me to go first, or do you have one?
Yeah, you go first.
All right. I got to give my boy Smoke Wicklund a shout out. He, for those who are not aware, I know I mentioned it last episode. I went to Cincinnati last Saturday for the Vikings Bengals game. Unbelievable game, great environment. T. Higgins pops off, has probably the play of the year, scoring a touchdown. I just like it. We both looked at each other and we're just like, it's like that's one of the best wide receivers in the game, and he made the play of the year.
Yeah.
We just happened to be there. Got a couple of these from Cincy fans, which is really funny.
Oh,
We were just sitting at the bar after the game, and just a guy walks up slowly, not like runs by and does this. He just walks up and just goes, he keeps walking. And we were like, I respect it.
oh.
Just because they were very, very welcoming for the most part. But my boy Smoke got a Vikings helmet tattoo with the word skull under it after a loss. I cannot ever question if he loves his team. So, dog of the week, Smoke.
It's a great looking tattoo.
It's awesome.
It is a great looking tattoo.
Did he get in trouble?
He got in a little bit of hot water about it, but
Yeah, but if you talk to him, he's like 24 hours, if that. He was.
Yeah, time heals all wounds.
Yeah,
including tattoo wounds. My dog of the week, Jesus. Christmas is Monday. Cool. Our Lord and Savior. Dog of the week.
Yeah,
Jesus.
I now kind of feel dumb for giving.
Smokes.
I mean, I don't think that you were trying to like make me feel that or one up me.
No.
But,
No, but it's 'tis the season.
Yeah.
Jesus, I want to, Tiger Woods meme, big dog. Big dog, Jesus. Shout out to Jesus. It's his birthday.
Yeah, you got another jewel added to your crown because you put it on a public airwaves show. It's fine. I'll reevaluate. I'll go think about
it. I don't think you should. You're being nice to a friend. Jesus was nice to his friends. Jesus hyped up his friends.
That's true. He was the ultimate hype man outside of just being our Lord and Savior. So yes, I agree.
Dog of the week, Jesus Christ.
As our pastor, both of our pastors often like to say, I believe that he epitomizes I like that you like what you enjoy. He created us to do that. So like this, I think he takes great joy in that. He's like, hey, I love that you two love college basketball.
Yeah, I think that too.
Now, does he think that? Well, I forgot to say it earlier, but Mizzou, I wanted to say one thing. Don't feel too bad because Seton Hall beat UConn the other day. I guess that's the nice thing I'm going to say. Otherwise, Dennis Gates gone after the season, hot dog water. So, other than that, that's all I got. I'm Big Papa.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. We love you guys.
Hells down. Merry Christmas.
Forever. See ya.